Well, here we go. Morning Drive on YouTube, and you've got world number 3, Brooks Koepka, headlining the field at this week's Honda Classic, and he sounded off on a number of issues in the most recent issue of GQ, saying, quote, "I already have enough friends. I don't need any more. Just because we work together doesn't mean we have to be friends. I've got enough friends. You know, I have my friends that aren't really into golf that much, and the only reason they're into golf is because they follow me. I like to be able to get away from the game. I just don't want to be that close with everybody I compete with. Like, I don't even have Rory's phone number. I didn't have Tiger's phone number for the longest time. I just never saved it. I'll text guys after they win, you know, but I'm still competitive. I still get mad. I mean, I'm happy for them, but I'm still like, man, that should have been me, or that could have been me. You know, you still just lost." End quote. Well, a little peek inside Koepka's competitive nature. But Robert Dameron, what did you make of his thoughts on relationships with other tour pros?
I think that he's probably a little bit trying to be the persona of Brooks Koepka that he has set out for everyone else to see. This is the Brooks Koepka you're supposed to see, but the fact is, you can be both. When we had Rory McIlroy in here a couple months ago, we said, "Who would you love to play with?" He goes, "I love playing with Justin Thomas," which means he's a great guy. But Justin Thomas also vocally says, "I want them to quit golf after they play with me." So you can be both. You can be super competitive and friendly off the course. It doesn't have to be one or the other. But then again, if you're not being true to yourself, and if you're okay with not having friends and you're being real, you're not just saying what you think people want to hear you say, then
Does
with
it surprise you? This sounds like who Brooks Koepka is.
It does. I think the one thing I can definitely relate to is the fact that he doesn't want to stand on the side of the green and congratulate somebody walking off in a tournament that he played.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
I love that.
I 100% relate to that. I get it. The part that I don't fully understand is that he doesn't want to be friends with the people that he works with. Okay, I get it. Like, if you're in an office and you don't want to be close friends with the people you work with, that's great. You can have your friends that you go out to happy hour with. That's not the case here. You work 20 weeks a year, you live with them, you travel with them, you see them all of the time. To me, it's a waste of energy to not try to form those relationships because you don't have anybody else to turn to at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night after you've missed the cut and you want to, grab a beer. Like, there is nobody else. Like, these are your people. And no one else in the world is really going to understand the lifestyle that you live except the people that live it too.
Right.
So that part I don't relate to.
I tell you what, though, I would expect nothing different from Brooks Koepka, who, basically has come to this game from the other side of the tracks. Challenge Tour, going over to Europe and Kazakhstan and far-flung places. He has built his personas like, I don't want you, you don't want me, I don't need you. This is fuel for him. This is how he's built himself up to be. And I think it works for him to be a stone-cold killer, to leapfrog Dustin Johnson, and to wave goodbye to Rory and Tiger as he did a few years ago. He has built this persona. I'm going to hang out with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not going to hang out with Justin Thomas.
Well, is he going to be in Kazakhstan? Because that's the thing, is that given the path that he did take through the Challenge Tour, through the European Tour, I'm especially surprised that he would say these comments. Because traveling abroad and traveling, when we, on the LPGA Tour, traveled to Asia, that is actually when I did the most bonding with players. Because you're going through customs together. You're staying in the same hotels that have the same shuttle rides to the golf course because you're not getting a rental car there. To me, it's even more bizarre that he would have this take having the experiences that he went through.
Damon obviously never played the mini tours because no one gets by on their own.
Yeah, but he's taking
before the money kicks in, everyone has help. Everyone has.
One thing
it has to be a team
that
effort.
stood out to me in the town hall that he recently did, he said he's always felt like he doesn't belong in the professional game of golf because he was never Rory McIlroy chipping into washing machines on TV when he was 7 years old. He's not Tiger Woods, who was born to play the game. He plays it because he's really good at it, and yes, he really likes it, but there are other things that he feels like he probably could have done with his life, but he's just incredibly good at golf, and he does have this competitive edge that makes you feel like golf is his job. It's not his life. It's not like if he didn't have golf, there'd be nothing else that he'd want to do with his life. So because it is such a competitive edge that he has, do you think
there's other players that have the same, Gary Woodland played basketball. There's other players that played other sports. In fact, a lot of them have played other sports and have that same competitive desire. It's bizarre, again, especially if he was into team sports. that he would be going out this solo.
why
I
do you-
actually
what-
find that even more bizarre.
What did you expect him to come back from Kazakhstan with? A bunch of numbers in his Rolodex, some buddies to hang out with? I would
An
think
appreciation for a shared lifestyle.
it's not shared with him, though. He saw himself as a soloist. This was a monastic almost viewpoint. I'm going to the hinterlands to kind of get tough, to learn the ropes, to learn the rules of engagement. And I think he's come out better for it on the other side. He wasn't the everybody's All-American, the 16-year-old getting the sponsors exemption into the hometown Byron Nelson like Jordan Spieth. He has looked at the Justin Thomas, the Nicklaus Award winners, all these young players who were gilded and given the label as America's sweetheart and the golden boy, and he went far-flung places to find his game and find himself, and that works for him. He's Batman. He's a solo artist. He's a stone cold killer. He's not going to be in the SB2K with Ricky and on the float with JT and Ricky and Daniel Berger, whoever. I don't blame him for that. I love this about him, that he's a soloist. It's very unlike golf. But I don't blame him for saying, well, I did kumbaya with so-and-so because we all shared a tea time over in Europe together.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he put himself through the tough world that is the mini tours, flying to all these places and spending your life traveling on the road to build a fraternity of friends. I think he did it to get tough, and now we're seeing the results of that toughness now on the PGA Tour, which does segregate him from the band of brothers that you see on the tour.
But they don't have to be mutually exclusive. They don't have.
Yeah.
You can still, when the bell goes off, like Tiger Woods, there are no friends. I want to beat you. And afterwards, the softer Tiger Woods now, or even before, he had a set amount of friends. It doesn't have to be that way. And the other thing is, right now, sure, it's working because he's playing great in the big tournaments that he wants to play great in. But one day he won't, and one day it'll be sad.
Yeah.
If nobody likes you and your golf game's gone, it's not the best path to take. I mean, if I were his mentor, we'd have
A four-time major champ.
No, it's
not the best path to take.
Doesn't matter. You can't go to bed with your 4 major trophies when you're 50 years old and no friends and just sit there and
He
and
has
have a drink.
friends. They're just not inside the
That's
ropes.
when you're number one in the world. You don't know who are your real friends or not.
I'm surprised that 2 professionals who played at the highest level can't see some benefit and some understanding in how he has taken this tack and used it as logs for the fire. You're not seeing it at all.
I've been there.
I know you
I'm
have.
as comfortable as anybody alone. Like that, you have to be to compete at that level. You have to be able to practice on your own. You have to be there when it's raining, when it's cold, when it's dark, and you have to be able to eat dinner by yourself in the bar. That sounds terrible.
But it's true.
Yeah,
It's
it
true.
does a million times.
You have to be comfortable alone. But at the same time, it's not a fun place to be. And if given the choice and you have friends out there, you make friends out there.
Yeah, he's been a solo artist, and so far it's worked for the world number 3. More interesting quotes from the GQ story. Brooks went on to say, I love it, meaning golf, but I know how to break away from it. That's where the confusion lies, or maybe the misconception of me lies. I absolutely love the game. If I didn't love it, I'd retire right now. Don't take me wrong, but I could go off and nobody would ever see me again, and I could live a great life. I do it because I actually love golf. I love going to practice, to compete, to tournaments, grinding it out, even when you don't have your best, trying to find a way to figure it out to get it done. That's fun to me. But the one thing that I've been very good at is breaking away from the game when I need to. So those quotes seemingly different from what he said in the past about not practicing. Paige, what's Brooks's real image?
Well, I think you've kind of nailed it throughout, that he is this solo artist and he likes to do things on his own and in his own way. This part of Brooks I see and believe more than the part that I don't care that much about golf. Because the reality is you wouldn't have those long days by yourself grinding on the range. You wouldn't be traveling all over the world in random places in Europe if you didn't love the competition of it, love the game, or love the process and journey of trying to get better.
Judging by what he was saying about the friendships, like what you said about, eating meals by yourself and traveling by yourself, he will be surrounded by these people. I'm sure he will happily interact with them. He's just not going to be on the phone for them for an hour or call them up to go to the cinema at the weekend. He's not exactly keeping himself to himself, but it's just interesting to see how he is interacting with these guys.
It is interesting, and listen, there's 140 some odd players each week, and there's going to be 140 different personalities, 140 different ways to do things. I just have seen this and to ostracize yourself or be okay with being an outcast, even if you think it makes you a better golfer, which you can't doubt what he's doing so far.
Does it make you tougher if you do that to yourself?
Sort of, but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it can. It can. If you look at like a Nick Faldo who isolated himself for years, it probably made him better, but it doesn't have to because there's plenty of other players that didn't do it that way. And on the other end of golf, it's better to not be someone who isolated themselves all this time.
Listen, I think not texting with the rest of the PGA Tour kind of lends itself to him having his own mystique. I think a lot of what he speaks about, back in the day it was, I didn't even practice that much. I don't need to practice. Then it was, I got this injury. I think the injuries have given him more of an appreciation for the game. He says he loves to practice. He loves to win. I believe he loves to break necks. And I believe he loves his place in the game as this kind of mysterious dude who can, win with his C game, quoting Tiger, compare himself to LeBron James. He's doing everything in his power, real or imagined, true or exaggerated, to be different from the rest of the pack. He doesn't want to be in the same sentence with Rory and JT and Tiger. He wants to separate himself from Dustin Johnson. And I don't blame him for that. Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that he's in GQ to begin with, wearing the shades, on the deck of a yacht, and talking about the game and saying, I could have played other sports. I mean, that's all a part of this presentation that he's trying to build. And he doesn't want to be texting Webb Simpson. Hey, bud, how are you?
No,
that's not who he is. And that's not what has brought him to this point in the game.
There's a contradiction, though, too, from where he has said in the past, I don't need golf. I don't really like practicing. I'm just good at it. I like to play. And now he's kind of recanted that and said, wait. I do really love it. It's part of that to me sounds like, because I personally went through the end of my career not liking golf whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I just didn't enjoy doing it. It got too hard. But I felt guilty telling people that because golf had been so good to me. So I didn't want it to even say it out loud was a difficult thing to do. So is that possible? Where he goes, wait a minute, I sound terrible saying this when I am incredibly wealthy and incredibly famous and the #1 player in the world, and I'm doing beer commercials with, Jimmy Fallon.
And I think it can coexist. I think what he said originally may have referred to, I don't like the stuffiness of golf. I don't like certain aspects of it. And then what he was saying in this most recent piece is that I love certain things. I love the grind. I love to personally get better. I love to beat people. I love the competition. You can have both feelings towards the game, I think, and it would be not mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brooks Koepka once again suggesting that he is a cold-hearted killer out there on the golf course. But is that the best way to do things, LT?
Well, send us your thoughts on Brooks Koepka. Be sure to subscribe to Golf Channel's YouTube page, and you can catch the latest golf news live every day on Morning Drive. We'll see you next time.